Hey everybody, we recently saw September's inflation data, and that was kind of the missing piece for Social Security to announce its cost of living adjustment and all the other inflation related adjustments that are going to take place in 2025. We're going to dive into the Social Security earnings test in particular in this video, which is the amount of money you can earn as a Social Security beneficiary without your benefits being reduced. Before we dive in, please hit the subscribe button to keep up with all of my Social Security and other personal finance content. And please take a look at the link you see on your screen right now, fool.com/Frankel. Get a message from my sponsor, The Motley Fool, and it's the best way to support this work I'm doing on YouTube. Again, fool.com/Frankel. So let's dive right in. I want to share my screen real quick. Okay, so the Social Security earnings test. If you're not familiar, let's say you're a new Social Security beneficiary. Um, if you collect Social Security and you have not yet reached your full retirement age, there's a limit on how much you can earn from employment. Now, there's not a limit. In other words, if you have, a $100,000 a year job, there's no reason you can't claim Social Security. But there's a limit on the amount of benefits you can collect if your income exceeds certain thresholds. So if your income exceeds thresholds, which there's a couple of them that we're going to go through, some or all of your Social Security benefits can be withheld. So this is a big issue for a lot of retirees because a lot of retirees, work part-time and want to know, how it's going to affect their benefits. So for the purposes of the 2025 Social Security's earnings test, which we just got the income limits for, there are three groups, and these three groups are the same every year. It's just the income numbers that change. There are people who have already reached their full retirement age as of 2025, those who will reach their full retirement age after 2025, and those who will reach full retirement age during 2025. Now, for most people, this is the first year where, sorry, the full retirement age is 67 years old if you were born in 1960 or later. So there, if you were born, people reaching full retirement age in 2025, it's a little bit lower. I think it's 66 years and 8 months. Um, Pretty much it's 67 if you were born in 1960 or later, and before 1960, just take away 2 months for every year. So people born in 1959, it would be 66 years and 10 months. In 1958, 66 years and 8 months, and so on and so on, all the way down to 66 years old. But people whose full retirement age is 66 years old are already taking Social Security. So you don't need to worry about that. But here we go. If you have already reached full retirement age, so this is the first group. If you've already reached your full retirement age, it's easy. You're free to earn any amount of money with no impact whatsoever to your Social Security benefit. You can earn $1 million a year and still get your first full Social Security check if you've already reached full retirement age. You're considered retired by the Social Security Administration, regardless of how much money you earn. So that's the real easy group. The most restrictive group is if you'll reach full retirement age after 2025. So for this, the annual earnings test limit that you need to know is $23,400, which translates to about $1,950 per month. If you exceed this threshold, $1 in Social Security benefits will be withheld for every $2 in additional earnings. That might sound a little complicated, but here's how it works. So let's say that you earn $27,000 in 2025. The threshold I just mentioned was $23,400. So you are $3,600 above the threshold. Since $1 of benefits are withheld for every $2 exceeding the threshold, that means that $1,800 of your Social Security benefits would be withheld. And if you have benefits withheld, it's not spread out throughout the year. It's important to mention they're withheld starting in January until the entire amount is withheld. So once $1,800 withheld, then you'll start receiving your Social Security checks. It's not like a little bit here and there. So that's how that works. Now, that limit's gone up considerably. It was well under $20,000 just a few years ago. So you can earn more and still collect Social Security. If you will reach full retirement age during 2025, there's a special limit for you. For this group, let's say your birthday is in March 2025 for this example. For this group, there is a higher annualized earnings threshold of $62,160 per year, or $5,180 per month. That monthly figure is worth knowing in this category because only months prior to your birth month are considered. There's a typo in that last bullet, but don't worry about that. So if you're going to reach full retirement age in March 2025, the earnings test would only be applied to January and February. Anything you earn in March or beyond is exempt from the earnings test. And not only that, but in that second bullet right there, you can see that $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $3 over the limit. So it's a looser withholding requirement and a higher earnings threshold if you're going to reach your full retirement age during 2025. So what happens if you do get penalized by the earnings test? So just to clarify, any benefits that are withheld because of the earnings test they're withheld. They are not lost. The Social Security Administration is just holding on to them. So how it works is that any benefits that are withheld, it's definitely a reduction in the immediate sense. Your checks are going to be lower. You're going to get less Social Security when you're 62, 63. But any withheld benefits will serve to make your Social Security benefit higher once you actually reach your full retirement age. The math behind this is pretty complex and beyond the scope of this video. But in that example earlier, if $1,800 is withheld, the Social Security Administration considers that and will kind of spread it out over your life expectancy after you reach full retirement age, and it will make your Social Security benefit permanently higher at that point. So with that in mind, the point of saying that is the earnings test shouldn't necessarily prevent you from working if you want to. It shouldn't, if you get offered a raise, don't turn it down because it's going to put you in violation of the earnings test. You're not going to lose money. It's kind of just think of it as deferred income. You're deferring some of that Social Security income if you get dinged by the earnings test. So don't let that really dictate your employment decisions before you reach full retirement age. So finally, in addition to the earnings test, the inflation data that we saw for September impacts Social Security in a few other ways. Most notably, it impacts the Social Security cost of living adjustment, which it was just announced that retirees will get a 2.5% cost of living adjustment in 2025. It also affects the taxable maximum wages, meaning the amount of earnings that are subject to Social Security tax for workers. It also impacts the maximum possible Social Security benefit. I'm going to cover each of these in other videos, so be sure to look for them on my channel. Hopefully you found this informative. Please leave me any questions or comments you may have. If the earnings test affected you, I'd love to hear your story about it, especially if you've already now reached full retirement age and have gotten the higher benefit afterwards. But I'll do my best to answer any questions or comments individually. And hopefully you enjoyed this, and thanks for listening. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from the popular product Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by nearly 5 times. So go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 767% as of July 5th, 2024, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 163% as of July 5th, 2024.